Pretoria's splinters struggle to rebuild. Portia Nur makes her move for Pretoria's secrets. Shapeshifters summoned from the plane of chaos feast on flesh and memories, while the mages of the Conclave Arcana scour the 7 territories. Few will stand against them, but it won't be enough. That's where you come in. You and your cards. Like all new archons that grant you dominion over bloodlines. Dwarves, elves, gnomes, orcs, and Lund. Craft midnight potions in the Artisan Quarter for a shot at new ultra-rare foils. Flex your collection in battle and earn bigger rewards. The Conclave Arcana awaits. Do you have what it takes?
Hey everyone, welcome to another Splinterlands Town Hall. Today is Wednesday, August 20th. We're doing it a day earlier than normal because I'm not going to be here tomorrow. So I want to thank everyone in advance for changing around their schedules to be here with us today. It's about 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and we are going to be going through a whole lot of stuff. Some of the new things that have been happening in the game recently. Obviously, Frontier mode has been big since the last town hall. We're going to talk about that a lot and the results that we're seeing. And it seems like it's been going really well and everyone's been liking that. We're going to be talking a lot about our marketing and onboarding efforts. We're going to be talking about the Crypto Gaming Recovery Fund, which has just recently been officially launched. And it's, even as we've been going through the process of getting it launched, there's been more and more games that have unfortunately been shutting down. But hopefully that will, make the Crypto Gaming Recovery Fund even that much more beneficial to everyone in the Splinterlands community, and have more people that can take advantage of it. So that's really, really, I don't know. I've never seen anything like that before in the crypto space or any other space. So I am super excited to see where that goes, and hopefully that can be like a template for future, not just Splinterlands, but every type of crypto project. Like try to kind of help out when people get rug pulled or when projects fail or whatever. If the whole crypto community can stop being as tribal and start kind of coming together, I think that would just be great overall for the ecosystem. So great to see us kind of leading the way on that. I'll let Blaze and Dave talk about that a little more when we get there. Then we're going to talk about kind of the major stuff that we have upcoming, which is all kinds of things. We're working on new campaigns for campaign mode that won't just be for new player onboarding. We're talking about new sets, like new reward sets and things like that. Make things like glint that you get in Modern and Wild be more exciting in the near future. We're going to talk about land and what Cryptomancer is working on right now, and kind of what we're thinking for the next few months after that. And we're going to be talking about the next kind of big projects within the overall game. One is a big player avatar and cosmetics project. Nate's going to show a bunch of stuff on that because that's kind of the one that's underway right now. And then that's going to lead into a big guild overhaul project that's a little further down the line, but we're going to start talking about it today. So we're going to have a lot of stuff to go over. Those of you watching might see a new face on the screen. We have Alfredo here from the creative team, so he's going to be sharing some behind the scenes stuff during the creative update with Nate. So we're looking forward to that. And I think it's always great to have more of the team members, pop on from time to time. So you can, put faces to the names and, see that it's a lot more than just, us usual characters here that do a lot of the work that goes into the game. So thank you for coming on, Alfredo, and looking forward to hearing from you in a little bit. First and foremost, as usual, we're going to the amazing Investigator who keeps this whole ship running for the most part. How's it going?
Okay, good morning, or good evening, as the case may be for everybody watching. So it's been a busy couple months, as anybody playing the game probably knows. So we've got our Conclave Arcana conflicts going on. We're currently in number 2. So right now we've got most of the work for number 3 set up so that we can get that to roll over when the current one ends. We've got all of the various fortune draw events going on. So there is the exclusive card. I won't try to pronounce the name. But so the gold foil arcanes are currently in their last few days of draws for that. And then we're going to, I believe, go to the black foil arcane auctions. The pickle gold foils are still going on since there were quite a few of those. And once those wrap up, we'll also be going on to black foil arcane auctions for those. So there's generally been a lot of ongoing things that we've been slowly rolling out over the last few updates. We've also had Frontier mode added, as well as the weekly fortune draw for that, which is a little different from the other ones since you earn entries by playing rather than land crafting. So coming up, we have a few big items. Some people may remember that we added a integration with Twitch where you can register your Twitch account. So we will be rolling out a Twitch airdrop campaign shortly that Blaze should talk a little bit more in detail about when we get to him. We are going to be updating the front page again shortly to add back news information onto it. So there used to be the welcome back message, and we're going to be adding a few different links with recent events so that people can get more information on the main page. And some other things will be coming up. We're going to be updating the guild chat so you can scroll back to see older messages because right now you can't see past last 100. We've got a lot of little quality of life updates coming down the pipeline, as always. And yeah, before you know it, we're going to be seeing the end of this exclusive card. Fairly next month, we should be rolling over to the next voucher card. We also have, as Matt said, a lot of bigger projects in the work, though those are a little bit further out with new player avatars getting worked on and some eventual guild updates. Plus, Cryptomancer is continuing to work on the land cards that have been talked about by him on Discord. So I think that's a fairly high-level view of what's going on at the moment. I'm probably forgetting a couple things, but that's a little bit of what you can look forward to in the updates to come.
Nice. Yeah, thank you. As usual, just like crazy lists of stuff. I love seeing every Tuesday the big long list of changes and things just for a lot of reasons. One, I mean, just all the, you can a way to easily see all the work that's being done. And, the second, it just like makes it reinforces to me that we're so much more organized and on top of things than we ever were in the past because we never had that organized list of updates every week. It's just great to see. Great to see that, and thank you, Investigator, for leading that effort week in and week out. Even though we keep talking about how we're supposed to have releases only every other week, um, they keep coming out every week. So we'll see. We'll see if we can give you guys a break at some point and uh, go to the every other week schedule in the near future. But for the players, it should be great to see also all the things from large projects to small quality of life changes that go out every week. The big list. So thank you guys on the
Yeah,
development team for doing that.
yeah. I want to say something too, Matt, on that. I mean, these guys are pros. The amount of work that they do, the things they do on the fly are amazing. We actually this last Tuesday we weren't planning to have any release, and all of a sudden the Crypto Gaming Recovery Fund needed to be done. They put together that whole thing, and got with Blaze and put it together in like 2 days, right? So it's just amazing to see how they can roll up their sleeves and get stuff done even when it's not planned. So obviously they do the big stuff, the planning and all that works really well. But I just want the community to understand just how much goes on behind the scenes. Like for instance, players have been talking about working on the expanding the mana range, right? Like how much battles, low end, high end, all that. And like people bring it up and we hear, right? We hear this stuff, we get the feedback. And so, we talk about it like, can we do this? And even though that's not on the schedule, even though that's not something done, it's like they take their time, they stop, they go figure out what to do. And obviously it didn't happen this Tuesday, but it's likely to come up on the the following release if we could squeeze it in. So it's like things like that they're just always willing to help. And like I said, they're true pros. So I just wanted to reiterate that.
Yeah, 100%. So speaking of the Crypto Gaming Recovery Fund and all that, I wanted to jump over to Blaze to talk about our onboarding efforts. There's been a lot of stuff going on that front. Finally, it's been a long time. Hopefully, the player base that has been waiting somewhat patiently, can start to see the results of what we're doing, and hopefully that'll continue. So, let us know what you got going on and what we're seeing, Blaze.
Yeah, no, we're at a great point. We've done a lot of work over the past year. And again, we have a great game, a great product, a great team, a great community. And that's all the ingredients for success. So now that we have that all dialed in and recently with the help of Matt and Mark, we've implemented some tools to help better track our customer acquisition and retention. Just really looking forward to sharing those numbers. We're at the infancy of it. So we just now got the tools in place and we're using them and we're already reacting to results. For example, if chapter's a little harder than the other, we've already made adjustments. So all departments have the eyes on these charts so we can all do our best. I myself will be looking at the numbers to make sure that new signups keep going up in the spell books. And Nate has his eye on the chapters to make sure that everything's flowing properly there. Royal has his job on checking out how many games they're playing and seeing how the interactions are going. So everybody's playing a role. So really excited to see where we can take this. Jumping over to the list, same as Harry said, I'm probably going to miss something. We just have a lot going, running at full speed here, but it's been an action-packed month. I'll start it off with Splinter Vibes. Our SoundCloud has passed 32,000 plays, and we're now releasing on Spotify. So that's pretty cool. For songs, we have 2 new bangers that dropped, Possibilis the Wise, A Flicker of Light in the Gray, and one of my favorites, Scarred Llama Mage, Ocarina. It's a really good one if you guys haven't heard it yet. Same, we'll be posting a lot of this stuff in the tavern if you hadn't made it over to SoundCloud or the new ones that are being listed on Spotify. So really cool. And also we have amazing music videos by Ghostly BG and Brave Tofu. Really fun. I don't know if you guys have seen, but the quality just keeps getting better with this AI. Brave Tofu's becoming a grand master at it. So really, really cool stuff. BG nailed it out of the park with, what is it, Lil Evie? So that was a big hit in July. Super fun. Shout out to everyone who's contributed to that so far. The Crypto Recovery Fund. Yesterday, we just launched it. So far, so good. We followed it up by a press release. So we launched a press release last night. We're already getting emails from journalists saying that they want to add more details and such and post on their sites. And we're working with a PR system that's running APIs and broadcasting all over the world. So let's see how it goes. We'll be using that tool not just for the Crypto Recovery Fund, but all news events regarding the Splinterlands as we see fit. So going really, really good. For the Crypto Recovery Fund, our community is already on it, spreading the word across X, jumping onto Reddit to look at projects that have failed and get their say in so they can mention our fund. That's going good. Big thanks to Clay, CSL, so on. The first list of approved projects are Tokyo Beast and Walking Dead Empires. And also we fired up splinterlands.com/CGRF for the landing page for them. It was just something quick to whip up, and we'll make it nice and pretty over the weeks to come. Also, this past weekend, we joined NFtopia Metaverse Convention. It was a blast. We hung out with members of Hive as well as the Wax community. I had a great time on stage with Crimson, McVeer, and Echo, all from the Hive blockchain. We shared the stage and talked a bit about our projects. We also connected with interesting projects that we could lead to future collaborations with. Some really cool stuff going on Wax, and good to see that they're all building still. Let's see, over to our fortune draws and frontier fun. Action packed there. I haven't had time myself. I played the first few days, and then I'm still telling myself I need to schedule in a couple of games, at least get my 5 wins in to get my entries, because I'm seeing everybody win these really cool cards, and yeah, I'm a little jelly. So, but that said, the secondary market's been action packed. I think a gold arcane sold for $39 or so. I may or may not know the buyer of that, but it's good to see that a free mode is creating such action on the secondary market. So really fun. But just know that, you know, the frontier mode and all the activities we have going on there, we're already thinking of new creative ways for our upcoming ranked rewards and the ranked battles. So get ready. We're going to do some really fun stuff. We learned from the past, the mistakes that we've had. And again, we're going to come back bigger, better, and stronger on our reward system and all kinds of ideas across the board. And a little too soon to share specifics, but Dave and the team will be leaning in on that soon, hopefully. Let's see, Conclave Arcana. Just get ready. I mean, Rozzy and crew, we're just the beginning of the new Bloodline synergies. It's going to get a lot more interesting in the near future. We're currently on conflict number 2. As we move past conflict number 3, the legendary Archons are going to start dropping, and those are going to be rattling the ecosystem with a lot of fun. So looking forward to that. But yeah, and then also Zaren's active now. So I saw some criticism in the chats and such, but we've played and tested that card, and it's an absolute beauty of a card to play with. Very strategic, works very well. I think the blast is being underrated, so don't fade Zaren. Great card. Okay, and then in regards to sales, we're a little over 3 months since the general sale launched, and we already hit 3.4 million in Conclave Arcana packs. But there's plenty of time left for players to dive in, and plenty of reasons to keep building your decks and collection. So keep at it. A lot of fun times to come. I'm looking forward to seeing more legendary arcanes being Black Foil arcanes being pulled, because so far I think it's 2 or 3 that have been pulled. I know Tails and Matt have one in their position. I don't know if any others are circulating yet. So let's see. As Dave mentioned, gameplay tweaks. We ourselves in testing found and playing ourselves as gamers that the mana caps were pulling a little bit on the low end, and we couldn't get to show off our new cards, whether it be the combo of Grommel and Arcane Skinwalker, and now with Xerix, you know, we want to play that beast, and we want him to show up a little more often. It'd be fun to be able to play all the cards a little more often. So, and also there are some low mana cards that play strategic well in high mana matches. So really interesting things going on there. But we fired up a couple of tickets. We've laid out a game plan, and we're going to execute on improving the mana caps and the way that they work, as well as the rule sets. We know a couple of them, like Back to the Basics and Silent Archon. We're kind of like Xing out our cards that we love playing with. So we're just going to switch up the ratios on when they show up. And then also Bob and and Royal are going to be looking into cycle in new rule sets, which is going to be really cool. So those changes are coming very soon. Just a heads up. In regards to the Twitch drops coming soon, we're close to activating Twitch drops for our streamers. Huge thanks to our community member Tails for helping us set up and get through the test runs. We're going to have full details in a Peak Deep post by the end of the week. We just have one more meeting tomorrow, and then we'll be publishing that. But basically, if you're watching the streams on Twitch, you're going to be able to earn Glint, and then we have that fabulous rewards card that we're going to be offering through the Twitch drops, and other influencers will be able to share it on other platforms. But for now, we're starting it out with Twitch. So going good. Let's see, ads and growth. Since June, we've been running small test ads. Dave and I were meeting and getting prepared to scale up with more of a budget for it. We were just doing $50, $100 runs to see what worked better. For example, Facebook's working good with video. X is working good with images. So we're just fine tuning our messaging, and it's going very good, and we're getting ready to make the big push. That said, and ties in with it is that Frontier funnel that we've created, which allows us to see, we have the campaign now and the Frontier funnel where we can see the activity of games played by the community, people, how they get through the funnel. So we have all those tools in place to keep an eye on things and look at our retention and keep improving those areas of the program. So that's what I got. And in regards to some screenshots, I just wanted to go back and say congratulations to the winners of the Gold Foil Arcane Pickle. Here's a list of them here in the town hall. Too many of them to read. And then for Tasoshi, here's the list of winners so far. Congrats. I think Ron has me on slow mode, so I can't, or since the updates to Discord, it's a little slow, but I'll be posting that as well for Tasoshi. But there are only 3 auctions left for that card. I'm looking forward to seeing who lands the #1 mint. I'll be giving it another go. And again, congrats to all the winners there. In regards to our charts, I'll also share a couple of charts here if I can post here soon. Let me try to drop one more time. Cool. Yeah, so there's the Tasoshi winners. Donkey Kong and crew. Vutka's got the first one, I believe. Really, really cool stuff. Also, let's not forget Zerx, slow mode enabled. I'll post this here in a second. But we have under Zerx, we have Vutka's, Housewife, Kisrin, Ryondo, and Woody 575 that won the black foils during the Conflicts event. So really, really cool stuff. Congrats to them. Very few winners. And yeah, and then I'll post it. Dave and I, we're going to fire up an AMA here soon to go over details. So we'll be happy to share, what we're doing for the funnels and retention and run numbers and such. So stay tuned, Dave. I'll just put that on our agenda to fire up an AMA so the community can spend some more time going over details with us. So I got.
Yeah, you got a lot of stuff there, Blaze. So I don't really want to add too much other than to point out, we've been saying all along that adding new players is a major focus. And, if you've listened to any town halls or any other meetings, that we've had, I mean, adding new players is #1 priority. It's going to continue to be the #1 priority. And it's really what we need, at this point. And, 2 metrics to give you guys to kind of understand like where we are in the process is #1, the number of people that have participated in Conclave Arcana sales have now more than doubled what was originally in the pre-sale. So that's a pretty big deal, which means, like how big was our community? And, we had people come in and like, if you kind of know what's going on, you participate in the pre-sale because you know what kind of a deal it is. We've now more than doubled that number of people that have participated, which means they've come in after that, right? So more people have come in after than participated before, which in my opinion is a very good sign, right? And obviously we want to continue to grow that with each and every set. And the second thing that I did put out on Discord, but if you didn't see it, Foundation or Frontier mode, excuse me, with the Foundation cards, but Frontier mode in the first 2 weeks passed all the other, the number of players playing the free mode past all of our other modes combined. So that's a pretty big deal. That, that's a sign that people want to play it. And I know some people have said things like, Well, there's a lot of old people coming back, like guys like Quantum Nachos, or somebody's opening up multiple alts, right? So therefore, you can't really count that. And I look at it the other way, and I say, why are they doing this, right? Like, why did Quantum Nachos come back after not playing the game for years? He's back, right? He wants to play because he likes it. He's raving about it. He's saying really cool things out there. So that's good. And then the second thing is, if people want to open up alts and play manually, like not alts and play, not to bot it, but if they want to open alts and play manually, what does that say? That says that this game is either engaging enough, exciting, rewarding, whatever you want to look at it, for our players that know about the game that want to do it, which bodes really well for when new people that never heard about it, come in and they show up. And we're starting to see that in the numbers. We track, like Blaze said, he didn't show the numbers, but every day now we see how many people come in. There's usually between 150 and 200 people now on a consistent basis coming in. That 150, 200 people, obviously they hit different spots where we lose them, right? Like we don't keep 100% of the people, but that number that we're containing now, or we're getting to the point where they're playing matches and staying, is up around 20 to 25%, which is much better than it was in the past. And we still got a lot of work to do to make it even higher. But we're starting to see those metrics. And if you guys, obviously, if you go to Pink Monsters or you pay attention in Discord, you can see things like spellbook purchases going up. So, we're just getting started. So I just want to make sure I make that point, because new players is the key to everything, right? And I will also say one thing about the Crypto Gaming Recovery Fund. Like, we literally just launched yesterday, and it's amazing at how many people understand and grasp the idea now. Like, now that it's out, instead of just an idea, now that it's out, it seems like the excitement is really good. We're actually getting people from some of the other projects that one of them reached out to me this morning. So that's exactly what we would hope. And not only that, this is a long-term thing. Like, this isn't like, oh, we expect like 5 million people to join tomorrow, but this is something that just builds. Like, as people start to hear and understand, like, hey, there's this thing called the Crypto Gaming Recovery Fund, and then their project starts going down, like more and more people are going to start to get involved. So I think it's really cool what we're doing. And obviously I don't want to touch on everything else, or this call would last like 5 hours. So that's it. Thanks, Blaze.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, we shared some more screenshots there in the tavern just for some numbers, and then Jangles is already dropping the PR showing up on Google. So
yeah, that's a real exciting project, definitely. There's two sides, we look at to this whole new players thing. One is things like the Crypto Gaming Recovery Fund and the advertisements and all that to bring people in the door. That's one side, and the other side is when people come in the door, retaining them, engaging them. So obviously the CGRF and the other things is the focus on the first part, bringing them in the door, and then campaign mode, frontier mode, and then all the kind of dashboards we talked about are that second part of making sure when people come in, they have a good experience. And the dashboards that were mentioned, we're getting very specific numbers that everyone can look at, which is something we've never really had in the past. We're seeing like every single step from the new signups. Did they start the campaign? Did they complete each chapter? Did they skip the videos? Did they not? Did they play a game? Did they not play a game? And we can look at it, total by day, granularly for every single actual user. So if we see, we're starting to look at, we see a lot of drop off between chapter 3 and 4, right? So we look at that. It'll allow us to start doing A/B testing. Okay, well, what if we try some different things, and then we look at the numbers and see, okay, that gets people, further along in the process or not. So this is all the type of stuff. Oh yeah, Blaze just shared an example of one of the tables in the dashboard. This is, starting for kind of the first time to have a very data-driven focus on how to get new players engaged and becoming our core long-term players, like all you guys. So it's just we're juggling all these things at the same time, with a relatively small team, but we're working on all these fronts as fast as we can. So thank you, Blaze, especially for leading all those initiatives that you just talked about. I mean, it's like many more things than I expected. But then when I thought about it, I was like, yeah, I guess he's working on that too, and we're doing this, and you kind of forget in the day to day. So it's good to hear all that.
Yep. One thing I also forgot to mention, Matt, and I think this is important, like Blaze mentioned that Tails was helping us on the Twitch airdrop. And I just want to say, like, what an amazing community we have. We don't have a team to be able to, like, Blaze got 100 things going right now. Like, he really can't focus on each and every item, right? But Tails came to us and said, hey, here's an idea, right? And we talked about the idea. He said, I'll be happy to, kind of, like shepherd it through, like make sure that I communicate with the other, influencers and get this all up and running. So he's worked with Blaze, he's worked with Harry. And there's a community member like pitching in to help with no pay, right? But that's what makes our community awesome. And it's not just Tails. That's a perfect example. I got a lot of other people that are doing similar things in similar areas. And I just want to mention, like, we want to leverage you, right? Like we want you guys to be involved. So if you want to help, let us know. And also thank you to all the people that do help. It's an amazing thing to watch.
Yeah, ultimately, I think that's the difference between the games that shut down and the games that don't. The games that shut down are typically larger VC funded projects. And when the money runs out, the people leave, and then that's that. Versus a more community run project, like where people just step up. So we've had to reduce our team obviously a lot over the past few years, but we've had people both on the team and from the community just step up and kind of work together to keep this still going. So when you have a community run project, it's really hard to shut down. It can only really shut down if the community, everyone involved, really wants to stop working on it, which seems unlikely here. And I think the way we've structured the project, which has been a goal of mine from day one, even though it took many years, with the SPS DAO and the way that all the sales and everything are run through the DAO, so all the money effectively goes to the players, and the company works for the DAO via proposals. The goal of that was to create this community owned and operated project. So it's not just based on the company getting VC funding and then shutting down if things don't go well for a period. So I don't know. For me, this is like seeing this come together is exactly the vision from early on, which took a long time to realize. Seeing like it actually being a well structured, community owned and operated project, and I still think that's something we need to like help people understand. It's a very foreign concept. I think even a lot of our player base doesn't really get it. I see that from the comments, from some people. There's definitely a lot of people that do get it, obviously, but there's a lot of comments around like, still like a knee-jerk reaction. Oh, there's a cash grab from the company. And I'm like, what are you talking about? We don't get any any of this money. Like I don't understand. So it just shows there's still a real lack of understanding about what we're doing here, which is good and bad. The good side is it means we're very early, and for one hope that this is going to be the future of gaming. I would only want to participate in kind of community run projects when and if I can going forward. So we're blazing the trail, and we have Blaze to help do it. So yeah, so it's a community effort, right? Like we're not doing it ourselves. It has to be everyone here participating, and everyone here participating should benefit if it works out. And I think we're starting to see the very beginnings of that. I think the Crypto Gaming Recovery Fund is going to be really innovative way of just showing that to everyone, hopefully in this space. All right, so we talked a lot about that stuff. I don't want to say we saved the best for last because everything's awesome, but people really like their eye candy. So, and Alfredo's been hanging out for a while. So we're going to go over to our creative update. We got Nate. Alfredo's bumping me off the screen, which is awesome. So show us what you guys have so people can really visualize some of the things that are coming up here.
Yeah, definitely. Before we dive too much into it, I just want to refresh people's memories. If you don't remember who Alfredo is, let me give you kind of a brief recap because he's worth the introduction. Back in the early days, Alfredo ran a company called Candy Cal. It was basically an art studio, and we contracted them out to do a lot of the early artwork for some of the cards in the first few sets. So he oversaw that. He was amazing. As soon as we were able to a few years ago, I was so honored and so grateful to hear him accept the invitation for him and his artists to come on board on the team themselves and just make it official, so that it didn't feel so much like we're outsourcing, but welcome new members to the family. And since then, he's only just proven what a great decision that has been. He is there in lockstep with me, trying to make sure that the creative tasks are being tracked. He's our his official title is as creative coordinator, and as such, he wears a lot of different hats. I used to sit there with my iPad trying to do the vector art for a new combat ability or a new ability graphic, right? And stuff like that. And little by little, he's been able to take a lot of that off of my plate because he's learned to do the vector art himself and he's learned to oversee that aspect of things. And so sometimes you'll see some graphics pop up in the game. Like take, for instance, the black foil frame. For those of you guys who are real fans of the look and appearance and aesthetics of the black foil frames, which I think just was knocked out of the park. Just the whole aesthetic, the visual, the glossy black, red gradient, the backgrounds and how those are visualized, how they went black, but like this neon Tron looking cool, background while still feeling fantasy. Alfredo did all of that. He is responsible for designing out that cool black foil frame. So I'm very happy to have him on the team. And then I'll say one last thing, and then I'll pass the baton to him so he can share some stuff. But he's also helping me do something which Matt and Dave and Blaze have kind of talked about in different terms. But I want to let you know that we started what are called community creatives. Something that Dave and Blaze thought would be a great idea, and I agreed. I was like, yeah, let's do it. So we're starting off with just a couple of community members, Gold Matters and Brave Tofu. If you guys have been in the community for a while, then you already know who those two guys are. They're amazing. They go to social media and they've been very creative in the animations and the artwork and stuff that they've been able to personally put together. So we did invite them already. They have access to a project management board for marketing, and we're going to work with them to kind of show them how the creative utilizes AI or other creative tools, and they'll probably teach us some new stuff along the way. And by the time we come out the other end, we're hoping that all the marketing is just going to be taken to another level, whether it's assets provided to the community to make use of, or whether it's assets for Blaze to go and spend some marketing dollars more effectively and just blow the socks off, the world at large. So I just want to say Alfredo's going to be helping me a lot with that as well, overseeing the specs and dimensions and parameters of these tasks and how can we push things to the next level and things of that nature. So thank you very much, Alfredo. I know that he has the art team currently hard at work at the next set of cards. So I'll let you go over that now. So take it away.
Thank you so much, Nate. Well, yeah, I'm Alfredo, but I'm actually Virev in game. And yeah, as Nate said, I have a room full of hats right here for my creative coordination duties. So basically to help Nate and the rest of the creative team to just some scroll sorting duties, help with some shapeshifters. I can design arrows, getting those. Sometimes I sharpen some character art blades, or help with some invocation runes for animation or audio, or explosions, that kind of stuff. And also attending meetings in general, a lot of meetings. But yeah, I've been here since Dice or Untamed, somewhere around those two, like a rogue in the shadows. But yeah, I got my guard badge permit about 3.5 years ago. So it's been quite a trip. But yeah, talking about the strong points and sharpening some character art blades. Here is something that we've been recently sharpening. Let me see. We could start with this one. Hold on. Let me think of this. Just a nice goblin. Actually,
Yeah, with a
yeah.
big old
Well,
honking axe thing.
yeah, that one is maybe going to be pure energy, maybe magic, maybe I don't know. Of course, disclaimer: all of these is subject to change. Maybe, I don't know. A lot could happen along the
Yeah.
way. You know the drill. But yeah, I really like that one. Another one that we have is, for instance, this. And of course, with the recent updates, we are taking a lot more of care with all of the bloodlines and the races of the characters, and what gets in the set cards and mini set reward, all of that.
No, I
Slow.
think that's part of the
Yeah,
process. Is I know the art team is hard at work trying to further distinguish at a glance, like, hey, it's this bloodline or what have you. So we're trying to dial in. Hey, goblin ears should go this big, or eyes should be like that, or we have a science to how we display a lot of the bloodlines and races, right? To make sure that
yeah,
I know Joey is a big part of that. He says, well, there's so many feet or meters high, or this is the average weight, or like, there's a lot of prompts that we give to our art team to kind of make sure that not only is the world building something that we could be proud of, but also that as we dig into our these game mechanics that rely upon bloodlines and stuff, we want people to just glance at it and say, oh yeah, I know what that is, and move on with the game. So
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Of course.
One thing I wanted to bring up, Alfredo, which I think is an important factor that we haven't really touted a lot, but I believe Blaze at some point should get on it. Blaze loves it when I gives him more things to do. But the all the art for our cards is all done by hand, right? Which is a big deal. So and not only that, it's beautiful. It's like the black foils you were talking about. I mean, it's just amazing. And as a collector, that's the kind of thing I care about, right? Like I want to know that these cards are made by hand. I want them to be beautiful. I want them to be unique. Have a great style. So, Alfredo, why don't you talk a little bit about that? Like, how every card that you guys make is done by hand, and maybe the
Yeah,
process.
of course. Of course, like the sketches you're seeing right now, we have a whole process for that. We usually go about a minimum of 3 sketches for each character or each potential card. Sometimes they don't get released, of course. But and some other times we go way beyond three options, right? And we keep turning the handles, keep changing a little bit of stuff here and there until we are completely fine and happy with the art. Well, with the general sketch and the pose and everything, and then we refine, of course, go along for the final art, the final drawing, start the coloring process again. Many times we check several different options for the color, and then finally the lighting and some VFX. And yeah, now and then we need to change some stuff around, and it's part of the process, right? Sometimes we change a character from melee to magic, or sometimes even from one race to another. So
You guys really like it when we do that, right?
Oh yeah, that's the best, Dave.
Just to give you guys a little bit of inside baseball, that's like one of the, everybody's really passionate about what they do. So, creative, they really want to make sure that this card represents, what it should, right? Like the stats, the attack, the health, the size of the card, like all these things go in, and they take a lot of care and a lot of pride. And then over on the gameplay side, they'll be like, nah, we decided to change this and make it from a dragon. We're going to make it like a dwarf or something. Right. And then they'll be like, oh man. And they always have like these fights. So, I get the referee a lot, but, anyway, that's a little behind the scenes action, but yeah, you guys do a great job. I'm really impressed.
Yeah,
Awesome.
we always care a lot, especially Joey takes a lot. We all take a lot of pride on the narrative magic behind the scenes, right? And learning more and more about the ancient secret crypto history. I may have a couple more. So here we go. I really love this one. I think the character design
Yeah,
is really
that reminds me
funny.
of who's that evil witch from Little Mermaid? Ursula.
Ursula.
Yeah, that reminds me.
Well, yeah,
I'm thinking it's Jabba the Hutt's wife.
No, there you go. That could work too.
It's like somewhere in between. Yeah, you're right. And then I guess I will share the last one with let's finish with a potentially, probably dragon card. So
yeah, cool. An Alkid.
Yep. Yes. I really like the movement and the posing of that one.
Yeah, this
Did
is
you
really
say a dragon card? Because I don't think the dragons like that card too much. That's
Doesn't
cool.
it have a dragon on his spear, like he speared a dragon?
Yeah. So I mean, understand like the way we describe dragon, because dragon element is different than fire, water, earth. Fire, water, earth, you could say like, yeah, there's dirt on the ground, it gives me power, or there's fire, I'm going to infuse my magic with this fire to make it more powerful. But dragon's a little bit different. The way we describe dragon element is that magic naturally emanates from these creatures, these mythological creatures called dragons, right? But if you're not a dragon and you want to harness that magic for yourself, you got two options. Either A, you make friends with the dragon and the dragon bestows you with a blessing of some sort so that you can work with dragon magic, or you go slay the dragon and then you saw off his talon or his tooth and make an amulet out of it, because there's still magic coming out of it, right? So then you use that as a talisman of sorts to practice the dragon magic. So that's some of the world building and mythology in the Splinterlands world, and it kind of blends into that card, I guess. Like you could have a dragon card theoretically. That's not a dragon as long as you're a dragon slayer, right? You're using dragon magic now. So yeah, that's probably, I'm guessing, the explanation that Joey has in the art prompt, since there's a dragon head on this beer.
I can see a song coming from that right now. I'm sure Blaze is working up a song about that.
But it still might be correct that the dragons don't like them.
Yeah.
It's a good distinction that the element does not necessarily mean you are a dragon. It's meaning you're kind of using that elemental magic in the world, whereas the bloodline would mean you are a dragon. So I'm sure that's not going to be a dragon bloodline.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Cool.
Yeah. Thanks, Alfredo, for coming on. That was really cool, and thank you for all you do. I know you do a lot, and you work hard, and you take everything we throw at you, and I couldn't be happier with the quality that comes out. So kudos to you.
And as Nate mentioned, one of the people has been working on the project for probably the longest out of the core team.
Alfredo's been around a while. So before we let go creative entirely, I will say that the community creatives was one way that the community is going to be, factored in more and more with, producing assets and doing cool stuff, right? But something you could do today, right now, is just go into the Discord UX channel. And I know, like, yesterday's update was a direct result of a poll that was taken in that channel. So, players were like, hey, I'd rather see expanded view as the default in the match history. I'm like, well, hey, let's find out if there's more people like you. So then I did a poll. I was like, oh yeah, hell yeah. There's most people would prefer this. So yeah, we went back, we tweaked it, and then boom, as of yesterday, that's the default. So that you can see all your earnings and your battle rule set details without any extra clicking. And unlike before, where you can only see one at a time because it was a tooltip. So as soon as you unhovered it and took it away, the information disappeared. Now you can compare multiple matches side by side and compare their earnings or their combat details and all that stuff. So again, because of you guys, it's you guys are making the difference. And like what Matt said earlier, it's like you're not a consumer in this relationship. You are literally a partner, a collaborator, side by side. If you even own one SPS, you are quite literally a stakeholder in this project. So again, this is awesome. We encourage you. The more the merrier. So come in the UX channel and make a difference as well. And then next thing I will, because it's getting later and later, so I'll try to be as brief as I can. I'll share a little bit more eye candy. This stuff is more UI stuff. So if you guys are interested in UI stuff, the first one I'm going to share is this. It is a concept. So same disclaimer applies that Alfredo says everything's subject to change. But for those of you wondering, like, where did the match history go? Why is it over there? Like I said before in previous town hall, I think there were two reasons for that. Number one, it gives match history a dedicated page from which we can add way more features and functionality than we ever could if it stayed in the lobby. So as you've noticed over the past few weeks, you've seen more and more updates to that match history screen. Now you can, you have filters. You can decide to watch, you want to see all your practice matches or all your tournament matches, independent of Modern or Wild. Now you can do that. You can say, hey, I want to see the 100 last battles rather than last 25. Now you can do that. You can say, hey, I want to see all my wins or just all my losses. You can do that too. There's all kinds of crazy stuff you can do over there if you haven't noticed. So I encourage you to go do that. Now that we have the real estate freed up, oh my God, now we're exploring all kinds of other stuff. Now, not to say that we're going to, the lobby's going to look like this anytime soon, but I want you guys to know we are actively behind the scenes looking at the possibilities. And if you guys, part of the reason for showing this today is, again, go to the UX channel, say, hey, I saw that screenshot. What if you did this? Or what if you took this information and replaced it with that information? Or, what would really be great? Like, let us know your thoughts. We want you to be part of this. We don't want there to continue to be knee-jerk reactions where it's like, oh no, look at this major change they did. What do we do? The sky's falling. No. Help us to refine the product. we're here, we're listening. Your voice can be heard. So that's one thing. I'm personally very excited about the idea of adding more chat functionality to the lobby. I think it's oh my god, that would be amazing. I don't know about how you guys feel about that, but I think it'd be great. Next thing, let's talk about daily engagement. So this is just a fun little thing. Joey, our narrative lead, has come up with this great daily engagement system, and it's floating in the priorities within the company. It's like, I don't know when we're going to get around to actively being able to implement. But I will say that behind the scenes, creative is slowly churning off some little assets, and when we're ready, we could hand it over to devs, and we'll see what happens. So I thought it was fun to see that what we wanted to do is give each season its own theme. We wanted to feel more real, and by real I mean, hey, the games this season are being held at the Kingdom of Crimea as Grand Arena, or the Belarusian Empire, or the Glordax Empire, like these different locations that have a real place in Pretoria on the continent. You can literally put a place on the map and say, hey, that's where this is, and you feel like you're there as a battle mage. Hearing the crowd roar in different stadiums. I thought that would be really cool. So this is a little artwork, little examples that you can kind of look to. This is the arena background we would use for Kingdom of Crimea. If you remember, the Kingdom of Crimea is very much like Camelot, lots of cool suits of armor and stuff. This is the arena background for the Belarusian Empire. Which if you know, those are the guys who are like really creepy, and they have the Dark Eternals, and there's a lot of undead stuff going on over there. And then you got the Glordax Empire, which is like the dragons. And so you gotta operate in that kind of thing. So there's some really cool ideas being bounced around as to how we would utilize this beyond just cosmetics. Like, oh, the arena looks different. Okay, no, there's like all kinds of other cool stuff that will kind of release as we're closer and closer to implementation. But yeah, I wanted to share that because I thought that was cool. The next thing is probably what Matt talked about, which is the idea of player avatars. And if you guys have been around a while and heard me talk in previous town halls or historically, this is something I wanted for a long time. So I couldn't be more thrilled or more excited by the possibility that this is happening. So just to give you guys an idea, creative department is currently working on UI specs, and we just handed over, like in the last 24 hours, we just handed over the first of the UI specs for what I'm showing you right now. So this is like actually going to be actively worked on. I'm so excited that Matt has prioritized this kind of like higher up on what we're doing. And so you might end up seeing pieces of this sooner rather than later, and which is pretty incredible. Right there on the screen, you'll notice that creative already has all the pieces, noses, eyes, hair, whatever, for like, this assortment of different bloodlines. We got human, elf, dwarf, orc, goblin, gnome, uland, Materan, redemption. We got the Dracoshan, and we got the Jin. And we haven't decided yet internally whether we're going to release them all at once, whether we're going to start off with humans, whether we do it little by little or whatever. We haven't determined which ones are premium bloodlines and which ones are free or any of that stuff. Like none of that has been all the way sorted out. We're talking about that now, but we are getting the bones of it ready to be implemented. Let's see what else I got. So let's look at another screen. Once you choose your body type or your bloodline, you can go ahead and start working on like facial features. You can start working on clothing, all kinds of neat stuff. We did design it so that, hey, don't worry about it, mobile users. We are thinking of you. So there's a mobile version of what that might look like. You're going to have the option to maybe choose different outfits. Besides just your skin and your hair and your eyes, you can start choosing different outfits and things of that nature. You'll be able to start seeing that maybe on a redesigned profile screen. I'm not going to talk too much about this, but I know that Dave and Matt have some desires to build more and more and more on top of just making your avatar look different. And I'll let them talk about that in future town halls. But you might see little glimpses of that, and how that's going to get better over time as we continue to explore. How that might look on maybe match history. You start seeing your avatars there. You might start seeing it before each battle. So when you start looking at your the versus screen, like this guy versus this guy, and of course, I think I showed this before, like a year ago or 2 years ago on some town hall. But yeah, we have enough assets to where you should be able to create exactly the persona that you want. Like there's enough noses and skin colors and tattoos and ears and ornamentation and earrings and stuff to where you can make the persona that you want to represent as yourself in the Splinterlands world in Pretoria. So I think that's really cool. I think that's really exciting. I think that it really builds upon the narrative that I think sets us apart from a lot of other card games. Whereas other card games, you're like, well, it's like playing poker or Uno. You're like sitting at a table, or it's like a virtual game. There's nothing much more to it other than I'm playing a card game. In the Splinterlands game, it's so much more than that. You are a battle mage. You have enchanted cards swirling around. You're entering the arena. You're hearing the crowd roar. It's so much more of an immersive and engaging narrative than just I'm playing with cards. No, you're something cooler and more amazing. And as we start adding more chapters to campaign mode, hopefully we can build upon that experience for those who appreciate that kind of thing. So I think I've taken up enough time, but hopefully that gets you guys' juices flowing as much as it does me. I think I can't wait. I can't wait to start making my own avatar personally. So there you go.
Yeah, I'm
Wow.
excited about it too. I just want to point that out. I think it's really cool what you're doing, Nate.
Yeah, like Nate said, we kind of just saw all this yesterday evening. We were talking about it, the concepts, but when you see it there on the screen, it gets more and more exciting. So I have a bunch of stuff I was going to talk about. I'm going to start with the player avatar project on the heels of what Nate just showed. I mean, so the thinking there is a bunch of things. I mean, one, right now in the game, there's like 20 little circle pictures you can pick from, right? And we've talked about in the past like releasing more circle pictures and cooler looking ones. But at the end of the day, um, you can't really tell much from that. And there's like we talked about Brave Tofu and Gold Matters earlier on, just like people who are like really well known, uh, heavy players in the game. Um, if you see them on leaderboards or in a match or whatever, like their little, it just looks like everybody else. So there's not a way to stand out. There's not a way to be you in the game. And we talked about the concept of the bet, like you are the battle mage. Um, and even though it's not like a role playing game, we wanted to make as much as possible for you to be like create your battle mage, and it's a lot more than just picking how you look. So there's, Nate shared a bunch of screenshots of like the profile screen and the, where you see it when you battle somebody. It's going to look like this on leaderboards and match history and all this stuff. There's a lot more than just how you look. There's backgrounds, there's frames, there's little the kind of I'm calling badges right now that you can earn or buy or like so you can really customize how your battle mage is presented in the game. And it hopefully will be a situation where like someone who's been around and playing for 5 years or whatever has put a lot of money in, has gotten all sorts of achievements. Like as soon as you see their player avatar, it's going to be obvious. Like it's gonna be like, wow, like holy cow, what are these badges? And they have fire coming out of them, and like what he's got like some crazy dragon thing that I can't even pick, because I haven't unlocked it. I haven't even got to the point where I can see it or whatever. The frame is going to be insane and, whatever. So they're going to have all these things all over. So it's a lot more than just like, what your eye color and skin color is. So you're going to be able to customize that. And we're going to try to have all sorts of, over the top, interesting options. And then have all different ways that you can unlock those options, right? So we have a million things in the game. There's glint. There's could be a whole section in the glint shop of like, buying different things for your avatar. We talked about, sort of an achievements or daily quest system that you can unlock different things. There'll be maybe with SPS or voucher. Like there's just a whole unlimited universe of different stuff that you can put on your player avatar. And I know, Nate and the creative team have been working on this for a long time, probably over a year ago. A lot of this was put together. And one of the reasons I was still hesitant was because I was like, well, there will be some players who really love this, and there will be some players who don't care as much about how their avatar looks. And it'll just be kind of like a not not that exciting thing for them. So before we spent as much time and effort as it's going to take to build this project, um, I wanted to contemplate how we could take it even to another level. I think we've gotten there. I'm not going to talk about it now. That's going to be a surprise, um, for hopefully when it's released in the not too distant future. But I just want to say, if anyone's thinking of this and looking at these things and being like, yeah, I don't really care if I'm an orc or a human and like create, picking all my hairstyles and all that stuff, like this is not going to be cool and interesting to me. Trust me, it is. When we release it, it's going to be a really cool integral part of the game. And so, I think there was a question earlier about what I've been working on. This is one of the things I've been working on. Is how we can make these avatars much more than just how you represent yourself in the game. So, we'll look forward to that. We're purposely keeping it as a surprise right now. The other thing I've been working on is a guild overhaul, which I've been talking about forever and forever. So, like, first the player avatar project, then we're going to kind of roll that into the guild overhaul. There's going to be a lot of stuff in the guild overhaul that works on that. So, guild overhaul is going to be, new buildings with new benefits and things, new ways to contribute for players, both free to play players and pay to play players, players who have more funds that are available. We want to kind of try to focus on guilds to be more diverse. And be able to have some people that like to put in a lot of money and get all the top stuff, and some people who are free to play but they play all the time. So all those people can be able to contribute individually in different ways. The biggest change is like a complete overhaul to guild brawls, which I think is going to be really cool. I mean, guild brawls right now are just basically the asynchronous tournament style. Um, it's kind of, in my opinion, gotten a little stale and boring. So we've completely reimagined how guild brawls can work to be a basically entirely new way of playing Splinterlands, but with the same cards and battle mechanics. Um, Sort of like how survival mode was a completely different way of thinking about how you play Splinterlands, but this is going even further than that. Um, and it's one of these things that I think will be awesome for guild brawls. But if people really like it, it could even be its own game mode potentially, outside of guild brawls for this. We're gonna definitely integrate land within the guilds. They'll again, we want to have like a very diverse set of people that you want for your guilds. So there's going to be some things where you're going to need land and land resources to upgrade and improve, and we'll give benefits on land. So you probably are going to want some land people in your guilds. So we want to sort of like different roles. Um, so that the player avatar stuff and the guild overhaul project are kind of like the two biggest things that we want to have out before the end of this year. So like they're each couple month projects. But that's at a high level, what I'm working on as my main project is like designing and thinking about these things, and then working with Nate and creative to design it all out, and then hand it over to development, answer millions of questions about all the details, and get that going. Um, on top of that, I talked about earlier, the creative team is working on new single player campaign modes. So we've talked about the first one is for new players and for onboarding, which has been great. But we want to add them for everybody, just like really interesting, difficult single player campaigns. We're going to try to tie that in also with the guild updates. We're going to tie that in with the player avatar stuff. So you possibly have to complete certain campaigns that hopefully we're going to make tough, and scalable to different levels of players with different cards, in order to unlock new, avatar badges or you know uh, outfits or whatever it is. Um, So we're looking for new single player campaigns to come out in the not too distant future. The team is working on a new reward set. So, people have been saying that, hey, Frontier mode's awesome. There's all these new cards and everything, and Glint is kind of boring. Yeah, well, we haven't had new stuff in the Glint shop for a long time. So soon there's going to be a brand new reward set in the Glint shop. We've been discussing with a lot of people whether or not that needs to be soulbound or not. That's something I'm sure there may be questions about. We can talk more in the Q&A if people want to talk more about that. But overall, like, now that we've have a different stance on bots and the game works very differently than it has in years past, there may not be the need for soulbound cards as we're kind of seeing for Frontier mode. So that was sort of a test bed, you could say. So there's all sorts of ideas of whether some cards are soulbound, some are not. Maybe it's just easier to make them tradable, or much less expensive, or maybe not soulbound at all. I don't know. That's part of the whole thing that we're working on, and we're going to be using a lot of community feedback and input on that. But my overall, and Glint is going to be a big factor in the player avatar stuff. So the goal of a lot of this is to make Glint really super exciting again in the near future. So hopefully it'll as maybe a little bit of the Frontier mode excitement wears off, people start getting the maxing out their cards there. They'll be like, oh, well, now I need all this Glint to get all these other cool new things, and jump back into modern and wild, and potentially even survival mode. So that's being worked on. We've been discussing with Clay and some of the the larger stakeholders in the SPS DAO if there's a way we can do a proposal for a new mini set at some point as part of the Conclave Arcana edition. But that can be sold in maybe a different way that directly benefits the SPS token. I mean, in the past, with everything going through DEC, that indirectly benefits the SPS token, and we saw that work out well with a lot of SPS being burned right in the middle of the Conclave Arcana sale. But we've been discussing ways that we can have it directly benefit SPS token holders to do a mini set. So keep your eyes out for potentially a proposal on that in the near future. Land has been mentioned a few times. The land cards are Cryptomancer's focus right now. So special cards that can't be used in regular gameplay, but give different benefits on land. So I think that's going to be a cool project, and just sort of like a stepping stone for more like land specific items and things in the game going forward. After that, I think the plan is to focus on the 2.0 kind of white paper. There's a whole lot of stuff in there we can start working on, from building upgrades to storage, all that kind of stuff. And we want to focus on all the mechanics, rather than just releasing new resources. We want to make sure we have a lot of the mechanics in place, and use cases and utility in place before we go and start releasing any new resources. But I think Land 2.0 focus is going to be the major push for Cryptomancer after this current land cards project. And again, land is going to be integrated probably, definitely into the guild overhaul, and possibly into the player avatar stuff. So the goal is really not to do all these one-off things that we've kind of done in the past, but to try to have everything be planned and integrated together from the start. So as we're working on each part of these projects, we're like, okay, well, we also are doing all these other things. Let's make sure they all mesh together, and it's like one cohesive Splinterlands experience. So that's kind of all the like major projects that we're working on, and that's what I do from the specification side. Like, think about all this, write down the concepts, the ideas, get meetings with the whole team, have everyone put their comments and feedback. We go through many rounds of updates and changes until we get what we consider like a final spec, and then go through the whole development process. All right, I'm gonna take a little breather. Any of you guys have anything you want to jump in with or comment on before we go to questions?
No, I was just trying to keep up with you, Matt. I will say that you mentioned something that I'm excited about as well, is the idea that eventually, very soon, we could have a lot of extra assets other than just cards. So whether it's a monocle for your avatar, a new hat, or whatever, like the idea that we'll have more to give as rewards and more to sell besides just more and more cards is like amazing to me. Like I can't. Yeah, that's exciting to me. Or craft. Like who says that landowners can't craft some of this stuff for avatars? So yeah, there's so many possibilities. Yeah.
Yeah, and even on top of just the player avatar project, which has a lot, I have a whole list of just like general cosmetics that would be cool to include in the game. And we had one call where I said to the team that this should be like, we want to let players show off, right? If you have been here for years and you put money in and you put the time in and you do all this stuff right now, it's hard to show off, really. Sure, you might have gold and black foil cards and battles, but beyond that, like I want people to really be able to show and it be obvious, like you someone on a leaderboard or you see them in against them in battle or something, and you're just like, holy crap, like this guy's got the coolest looking stuff I've ever seen in my life. What the hell have they done in the game? So beyond the player avatar, um, there's like, we could have you could even have your own custom arena background, potentially, or customizations to the arena backgrounds that you could get. We could have like battlefield trinkets that you show. We've talked about different, you could get like different part of the like whole glamorous project, which is still an idea that we want to do. It's just a little later on, like, can you get not only skins but special sound effects and different things that happen in battles and outside of battles. um, with the guild overhaul, we're going to do a whole ton of guild cosmetics. So right now there's like 10 different colors and 10 different or 12 different little symbols you can put in there, but we want to like take that to a whole nother level where we have like all different kinds of crazy looking banners that you can unlock with different things in them and effects and things like that. So again, like you not only the player's avatar, but their guild is like, wow, you know instantly by looking at it that this is a top guild. You don't have to go like drill down and check every single player or whatever. Um, even within the land system, like right now when you go and look on the map, all the regions are little dots. But what if if you own a whole region or the majority of a region or whatever, you could like pick your own icon or thing to show, like, I don't know when I look on there which ones are cryptomancers regions, for example. But we should let people, like, it should be real obvious, sort of your commitment to this game. And that's part of what this is all about. uh, and I also want to talk about, a lot of people have been really excited about Frontier Mode. It's free to play. You get things that have value that you can buy and sell and trade. You don't have to put any money into it. It's fun. It's new, exciting. I want to bring a lot of that to our existing games. So that's where a lot of this comes from. Also, a lot of this fun, new, exciting stuff that we can just add into the existing game, that you don't necessarily have to pay for directly. You just earn it through your gameplay. The more you participate in the ecosystem, the more you get all these cool things, and you can show off to other people and then get different benefits also in the game from it. The flip side also that I just want everyone to keep in mind is, the both the company and the community and the assets need money coming into the system. So we have to balance all the free to play stuff and cool stuff that you can get with premium things that people can pay for. I think definitely in the past we've gone pretty much 100% toward premium things that people have to pay for. We're trying to move to a more hybrid model, but it is important that we still have uh, a lot of premium things that people have to pay a significant amount for. Um, just because that's the only way that anything in this ecosystem is going to have value, which is what our like unique selling point is compared to traditional games. So we're trying to, we can't go too far on the pendulum to just everything being free to play or earnable in the game. We need to keep it. We need to keep a good balance. So that's something I hope everyone can keep in mind when things are proposed. Like, for example, a new mini set that directly potentially benefits SPS token. Um, there's always going to be the people that are like, oh, it's a cash grab and whatever, and why do we have to pay and buy all these things? Well, you're an owner in this ecosystem. You have assets. If you want those assets to have any value, there's going to have to be people who are putting money into the game, and there's going to be need for things that people want to put money into the game for. So we're trying to swing the pendulum back to center from pretty much everything being premium, spend money for it. But we want to make sure we don't go too far, right? So there's going to be some of both. And I look at things like conflicts, like that. I mean, people have complained about the wagon cost and all that stuff. Yeah, those are extra special things that you need to participate and put in the money or have the land or whatever to get. And we're gonna have not only more free things, but we're gonna have more paid things also to go along with it. All right, so jump in if anyone has anything else. Otherwise, Dave, you're on mute. I don't know if you wanted to jump in there.
Yeah, thank you, Matt.
No problem.
Didn't know I was on mute.
You look
Yeah,
very excited, though.
yeah, I did. I was like talking away. I don't really want to follow too much. I mean, everything you said was awesome. And I just want to point out that you know, there's a lot of exciting things happening, and when we do something, for instance, like the Avatar project, like that's like a whole new thing, right? And a whole new thing just opens up the possibility for more things like that. So similar to like the auctions, right? Like we have auctions and we have raffles, and both those things opened up more and more auctions and raffles down the road. So, as we're doing a lot of these different projects, they're leverageable. And I think that, the reason why it seems like there's a lot happening because we're opening up and doing a lot of things. And so, for instance, when Matt's talking about like we're talking about possibly putting in tradable cards, right? Is prizes. Like obviously we can see what's going on in foundation mode. We can see the reaction and how people do. And immediately people say, why don't we have these over in, ranked play, right? And of course we see that. And we're not going to just sit here and not react. We're going to react, and we're going to react thoughtfully. Like Matt said, we're not just going to all of a sudden like repeat mistakes from the past. We're going to learn from all the mistakes of the past, whatever mistake we made, right? We're going to use that information and we're going to make whatever happened in the past, we're going to build on it, right? So there's like good aspects to some of the soulbound stuff. There's good aspects to the tradable stuff. So we're going to try to continue to experiment, continue to try the ways that we can to make the game exciting and fun. So I know Nate showed the concept of the seasons, like for the Drakashans or the fire. I can't keep up with you, Nate, on all the names of everything, but like during that season, like what if there was something special that a player could win during that? So like these are the kinds of things that we're looking at, and so there's going to be more newer ways of doing things that hopefully are exciting and fun, because that's our goal, because we are a game at our core and we're also a crypto project. So we also are going to manage, the asset distribution in a way that makes sense. Like Matt said, everybody can't have everything, right? And at the same token, that on the flip side of that, that doesn't mean, most people don't get anything. So there's a balance there, and we're basically going that route. So I just wanted to throw that in.
Yeah, and definitely the leverageability. I would take, like you said, the auctions and stuff allow us to build on that, but I think it really comes from the addition of the black foils and the arcanes and all that. So adding those allowed us to then do all these new things like the auctions and just give them out in cool and interesting ways. And yeah, the avatars and the cosmetics, adding that concept into the game is going to open up all sorts of new cool ways that those can be distributed. All right, since we have about a half hour left, I am going to open it up to questions. Ron is right on the button there. The Q&A session is now open. Please put your questions in either Discord in the Town Hall channel or on Twitch or YouTube, and they should be hopefully copied into Discord, because that's where I'm going to look for these things. Preface them with the word question, hopefully in all caps or bold. The bigger and more obvious you make it, the higher chance that it doesn't get skipped by accident. Although we usually, someone will let me know if we missed a question. And just a reminder for anyone who might be listening to this, after the fact and the replay, feel free to post questions in the Town Hall channel in Discord at any time. Myself or Dave or some of the other team members try to check those on a regular basis and answer them, so you don't have to necessarily wait for the next Town Hall event to get your question answered. All right. let's see what we have here. First question is from Sterling. I wanted to say a big thank you to the team. I love to see how hard you guys work, how transparent you are, how obvious your passion for the game is. I was wondering about Not Corrupt Media. I haven't heard about them in some time. I was just unaware if we are working with them still. The ultimately we're not working with them anymore. We had some misunderstandings and disagreements there, but they did do a lot of work for us in the past. For example, the home screen redesign was something that they did, and they also worked with us on general like overall strategy. But we've kind of I guess taken it from there going forward. I don't know if you guys have anything you want to add, but that's the situation with them.
Yeah, no, I mean we're not working with them at this point, and um, going forward, we'll continue to evaluate all other companies like that. If we believe they can bring value, we'll certainly engage them. And the one thing I would say for the people that don't understand it, I'll try to make it as clear as possible. Like, we want to add new players. We're gonna focus on adding new players, and we're gonna do what we need to do to add new players. I mean,
Yeah, and cost effectively. We need to be careful how we spend the funds, and so we worked with them. We got a plan together, and then we kind of just decided that it would make more sense for us to go forward on our own, mostly from a cost perspective. Next question from Intrepid Surfer: if the mini set proposal passes, when do you aim to have it released by? You want to take that one, Dave?
yeah. The goal will be end of the year. So the goal will be like December-ish. Can it run into January? Depends on. I mean, we got a pretty tight schedule, putting out two essentially mini sets. It's like putting out a full set. So we're targeting October for the reward set, and then sometime in mid to late December the mini set.
Yeah. Yes, when Dave said two sets, he means the reward set plus potentially a mini set. And
Right.
yeah, shooting for around the end of the year, which is typically also a good time, hopefully exciting in the crypto markets, to have a sale going on. And again, assuming the SPS DAO approves of it, meaning all you guys, we want to do it in a way that directly benefits the SPS token, which if we can do in the middle of potentially a big exciting crypto market would be awesome. We
And
got
go I was just going to add on that I'm hoping to have the proposal out next week. So we're hoping to launch the pre-proposal sometime next week.
There you go. All right, so that should be pretty soon. Next question is for Nate from Piju Weputa. We were told that Rooney were going to be continually folded into new Splinterlands plans, but I noticed they don't seem to be very integral to the lore and storylines as it gets richer. Could we see Rooney lore be more significant and relevant in the future?
Yes. I mean, I think the last time Rooney was mentioned in lore is probably Yaba's pickle, which wasn't that long ago. So, and Joey can correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I could have sworn that was in the story. So we do. We always look for opportunity. I think when we're just in general, we're looking for opportunities to give Rooney a special spot, because it does have a special spot in Creative's heart. We think they're cute and cool and all that. And I see the question number 2. I'm sure Matt will probably jump on the go tails of that one, where the avatar discussion. Please keep Rooney owners in mind for this. So yeah, I don't know if you noticed the profile screen. It did show a little Rooney graphic right there in the corner of the avatars, one of the badges. I think what Matt's probably going to ask me to do is to make it way bigger, which is fine. So don't worry about Rooney being in the background. It's going to probably be in the foreground. It's probably going to be very prominent. If you own a Rooney, you should be able to display that on your avatar and have people ooh and ah over the fact that you even have one, because not everyone has a Rooney. So
yeah, and I mentioned also that there's going to be a lot more to the player avatar project than just how your actual player avatar looks. So that can potentially be one of the ways that it's not just show the Rooney on your avatar, which it will definitely be there prominently if you have one, but it can potentially also factor into that part of the avatar project, which I'm purposely not going into detail about right now. But yeah, I mean, overall, we have a lot of moving parts in the game, a lot of things we want to make sure get attention. Rooney is one of them. Although I do think Rooney are decent, have a very decent use case on land. Um, we're so they're at least covered from that aspect for now, but we definitely want to keep that going with everything else that we do, and possibly even the guild overhaul. Right? There's opportunity for people that have Rooney to be part to have that benefit the guild. Um, but that's one of the bullet points I have for the guild design. Um, Question from Key to the Gate. Would love to hear some analysis on comments on what will incentivize playing as well as old card ownership once the SPS distribution phase is over. Besides non-tradable rewards, Glint or SPR cards, possibly a new gaming reward token, reward nuggets of other cryptos, or in general coming back towards NFT-based rewards. So first, I want to be clear that the plan is that you will still be able to earn SPS in the game after the distribution phase is over. The kind of thought process is um, essentially money goes into the ecosystem, and basically it leads to SPS tokens going to the DAO. And then so the idea is that a portion of that will go from the DAO back into the rewards pools. Now that's subject to proposals and the DAO, agreeing to do that. But it's just the concept is similar like any type of game reward pool. So, the money comes into the game, that should mostly go directly to the DAO, and then the DAO can vote to allocate a portion of the money coming in as rewards for gameplay. So the idea is the DAO earns SPS through all the stuff that it sells, new cards, packs, avatars, whatever it is. And then a portion of that gets allocated to the different modes of play. So even after new SPS are no longer being minted, that's how I've envisioned that working. It could change. The DAO could decide, maybe it doesn't make sense to pay out SPS tokens. Maybe it makes sense to pay out DEC tokens, or maybe do it in a different way. But my hope and expectation is that SPS rewards will always be a part of the game. They might go up and down. They might not be static like they are now, in the sense that like it could be, if the DAO brings in 10 million SPS in a month, half of that goes to rewards. So one month it could be 5 million, and then the next month the rewards could be 2 million, and then more, or whatever. That's going to be figured out, I would guess, within the next year. But then also, I think there's always been NFT based rewards. I think there's going to continue to be. And we talked about there may not be a need to have cards be soul bound anymore, or the majority of things be soul bound. So it can just be, you play and you start earning cards that have value, just like you do in Frontier mode. So that can be the case. And even for soulbound things like Glint, the idea is you can use that to buy. Some of the things you buy might just be cool looking, but a lot of them may actually be help you improve in the game. So therefore, you're able to earn more SPS or earn more tradable assets. So even though Glint and things are not valued directly, they can indirectly help you gain more value for your account. So that's my analysis and comments on what will incentivize playing. And as far as old card ownership, the number one thing to incentivize or to provide value and utility to old cards is still land. And the hope is that even right now, we have the fortune draws, we have the midnight potions, we have the raffle or the auction marks, and we have the wagons that all require land assets. The land assets have decent value to them already. We're going to just be constantly adding new stuff within the game that you can create via land resources. So the hope is that land, and this is even before we get to the ultimate item and spell cards eventually. So the hope and the goal is that land resources continue to increase in value, which makes the old cards continue to increase in value. So that's still the plan and direction for old cards. Hopefully that was a clear answer on the incentivization after the SPS distribution ends.
Yeah, yeah, I would say that everything Matt just said, I agree with, and then I would also say that the community is going to be responsible for working through this as well. Like we're gonna try to. Yeah, I was talking to Brave actually yesterday about this, and he's like, "Hey, we should probably get together and have a broad group of people that essentially come up with a plan, right, and work with Clay and work with the team and work with the players." And I was like, absolutely. I mean, that's what we should do. Like we as a community can control, what we do. One of the things that you'll see in the proposal that we have coming up for the mini set, I'm pretty sure most people are going to be excited about it, because one of the things it's going to do is really it should put us in a position where we bring in more SPS than we're putting out, which is a great spot to be in. So that's a goal, I guess I'll put it that way. So
yeah,
can't really say much more than that right now, but that's just one aspect. But at the end of the day, it's always going to be a collaboration, and I'm not worried about SPS. I mean, I do want to make sure we have a plan, but I was here before we had SPS, and there was a lot of people that played the game when there wasn't even an SPS token. So, there's a lot of levers we can pull. I'm excited about it. It's certainly something we need to think about, but it's not something to like we're not going to all of a sudden fall off a cliff, next week or anything. So.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, obviously, we see Frontier mode that has no SPS rewards, and people seem to enjoy it plenty. So, yeah, the game is not just about SPS at all. And I think regardless of what happens with SPS token rewards, we still have a great product that can do very well. And if it does well, that benefits the SPS token, whether or not it's used as rewards. So the next question is from Puda again. Oh, it just says "call me Rudy" right there, and I just missed that and tried to pronounce the name. From Rudy, I was told that the decision to make survival cooldown stop you from leveling up cards was an active decision the team made. I'd love to know what the reasoning behind that is, because it's disruptive enough as someone who is leveling up cards for ranked and conflicts that I just stopped playing survival. Yeah, I don't know. My general thought is that yeah, we should allow and encourage combining cards as much as possible. So I would say that is something we should look at if we are able to allow cards to be combined while they're on cooldown or not.
I think Gator has an answer for this one, Matt. I think.
I mean, it was an intentional decision when we did survival because the cards are supposed to be dead and not usable in any other formats, not able to be used for. Yeah. We walked back them being usable in other formats, but we didn't remove any of the other restrictions. So if we want to do that, we can. It just needs to be something that we consciously change about the restrictions that we put on place on dead cards.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I think this happens a lot. There like something changes about the game, and then it's hard to just go back and rethink about all the decisions made in the past that might now be affected by that change ahead of time. So I think this is one of those cases where it made sense with the initial implementation of survival mode. It may not make sense now. So I have a note for myself that we should look at that. So we'll do that. So thank you for bringing it up. Question from Abcor: seeing the success of Frontier Mode, will the team focus more on it by creating a real economy for the cards? I think bringing back the old play to earn mode, but without any burn value, without earning any token, and with the small printing cap for the cards, would make it work and attract new players, as well as those who already left the game. Right now, there's no printing cap and no utility for gold and black foils. Also, I think when the new set is launched, only a few cards should be playable from the previous sets, like max gold foils and black foils. The other cards should be burned for a chance to get a max gold or black card, which reduces the supply a lot. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's seems effectively what we did for Frontier Mode was create a real economy for the cards. The only thing I can see that you're suggesting that there isn't currently right now is a small printing cap. Um, and that was on purpose. I mean, if we have a small printing cap for the cards, then after some time they run out, and then all of a sudden new players. I mean, the whole idea of Frontier Mode was that like new players can come in and play at any time and earn cards and level up their collection through playing. So if the cards have a small printing cap, that would go away, and then we'd either be forced to create a new set on a very regular basis. That's difficult to do, or we're back in this situation where new players come in and they can't earn any cards, so they're forced to just pay money or leave. So I don't know. Maybe if you have more specific suggestions on what to do, feel free to put those in the suggestion box. But what you're saying is what we are trying to do is you know uh, create we created a new mode with a real economy for the cards. I mean, it has an economy. The cards are tradable. They have value. You don't earn a token. They don't have earned value. So the only thing I see is really different is the printing cap, and I just mentioned the reason for those. Um, and yeah, gold and black foil utility is something we also can look at. One of the things I think is hopefully in the future is being able to add glint rewards to Frontier Mode. We didn't want to do it right now because currently you get glint rewards. The main thing you can get are reward cards, which you can't use in Frontier Mode. So it kind of suck if new players came in and earned this thing and got these cards that they then couldn't use in the mode that they're playing. But I'd like to kind of rethink a lot of how that works, have a lot of new options in the glint shop, um, so that there will be, things that players can buy with Glint that can be used in Frontier Mode or benefited from by players that only play in Frontier Mode. And then the utility for gold and black foils come in as it has been with earning more Glint, more rewards in the battles. So that's like one thing in the top of my mind that I see for gold and black foil value. Um, but there's potentially other things that we can do in the
Yeah,
future.
and I have a couple comments on that. First, we did limit the bucket cards. So all the cards, black foil arcane, gold foil arcane, all have limited, right? And those are the premium ones, and
Good point.
that was on purpose. And we did leave the regular foil and the gold foil, I wouldn't say unlimited, but limited in time, right? So we just can't be making a set, every 6 months or something, and that's what we would have to do if we limited those. But I also want to point out another purpose of the mode is to get people to come in, earn essentially their starter set so that
Yeah.
they can move over into the premium mode, right? And buy a spell book at some point, buy a spell book, have a nice set of cards that they can play, and then they can go spend $5 on buying a particular legendary in the Conclave Arcana, or $10 or whatever to upgrade their ability to win. So obviously we want Frontier Mode to be a standalone mode. I want to have 1 million players in it, right? But we still want to have that progression, into the other modes. So making sure that people have the ability to earn those cards is a big deal. Like, we want them to be able to earn their starter cards, basically, which is
Yeah.
what's happening.
Yeah, right. We don't have the ghost card concept anymore, which was always not great in my opinion. So this is a much better way to do it. And we need to make sure that the cards are always available for people.
Right.
Um,
And one other thing on that point, like, some people have come to me and said, "Oh, it's, Frontier Mode's so great, right? Like, it's awesome. I don't even want to play the premium mode." The only thing I'll say about that is, like, I have a lot of cards. I think I spent 35,000 on the Conclave Arcana, and I can assure you, I don't want to sell any of my premium cards, right? Because I know what's coming down the road. So Frontier Mode is great, but we're also going to make the other ranked mode even more great. So, I know there's a little bit of like, oh, why, like almost jealousy. Why does Frontier mode, why do they get, tradable cards that they can win and we don't yet, right? And I just point out that, we're just getting started. We're not like, this isn't our final product. We're just getting started. So
just the Frontier.
Yeah. Oh, did I keep saying Foundation?
No. I was making a joke on the name. Like it's just the start. It's just the Frontier, and then it will be everywhere. Yeah. All right. With time's running down fast here, so I want to try to get to the other questions a little more quickly. Question from Intrepid Surfer: would you consider making a special and limited collector's edition of Conclave Arcana, but using the sketch art instead of what is used now? So, Alfredo, it seems like people like the sketch art that you shared. Yeah, certainly. I mean, I just want to say that the DAO really is the owner of Conclave Arcana. We built it for the DAO based on the proposal that the DAO approved. So that would be something where that someone can make a proposal with the details, and if the DAO approves it, then it will happen. So that's really balls in your court. If you want to do something like that, I think it's a neat idea. I had never considered it, but that's how that would happen. Question from Gathering the Magic. Two questions actually. The first one: I know Frontier just came out, has been a huge success, but is there any thought of releasing cards on a regular basis or new additions or changes to Frontier? I don't think at this time. I think that the focus is on taking the things that worked in Frontier and bringing that to the rest of the game. Like we don't want everything to just be Frontier. The whole idea of Frontier is just to get new players into the game and excited and having fun, and eventually transition into the rest of the game, which again actually brings in the value to the assets and the tokens and the DAO and the company. So we want to make sure Frontier works and is going well, and I think it does. But the idea is to take the benefits there and apply them to the rest of the ecosystem to encourage people to move there and hopefully put some money into the game at some point. The second question from Gathering the Magic: will the raffle system being super popular in Frontier, how about a raffle system in Wild with Black Foil and Arcane cards added there for weekly draws, cards from Untamed, Chaos, Rift Watchers, etc. Basically all the older sets that don't have those versions. This could be spread over several years. So yes, I have in my mind, since we initially first said we were doing Black Foil cards, however long ago that was, that there's a big opportunity to release those type of cards for older sets. Now, and we could the actual mechanisms of releasing them could be many-fold, right? I mean, there could even be Black Foil gladiator cards, for example, that you can only get from guilds and things like that. So for that, we definitely would never just release new cards from older sets just on a whim. So that's the type of thing that if the community and the DAO, you guys are sort of the owners of this, right? So we would and plan to put out some proposals, or proposals can come from the community that say, hey, we think this would be a really cool, interesting way to bring value to the ecosystem and fun to the game by releasing these versions of older cards, and would obviously only ever move forward on that if the community kind of overwhelmingly supports it. So if that's something the players want to see, I think it would be awesome. So we'll probably kind of test the waters on that in the near future and see what the community thinks. But I agree that there's a huge opportunity there for doing Black Foil and Arcane versions of older cards.
Yeah, I'd just like to chime in. Like, we have a long list of ideas, and that's all included. I think us and the community are pretty much in sync of like what we want in the game, but we really need to prioritize of like what's important, and that's why we're building the structure that we're doing now, and we're rolling it out as quickly as we can, and we're doing a lot. So our team is slammed, and I wish we can snap our fingers and get that stuff done right away. But you guys are going to be really excited of what's coming over the next 3 months, and then as soon as we're done with that, all of those other ideas come into play. So we'll prioritize of like what those ideas are and up them on the priority list.
And I would just say you're thinking along the right lines, Gathering the Magic. So yeah, in other words, I think we would agree.
The The next question from Quantum Nachos. Dave, since you've been generous with the shout outs recently, could you give a shout out to a new friend, I Spy with My Eye? He showed up in tavern and I guided him to our guild and been chatting up ever since.
Yeah, I Spy with My Eye. Great to have you here. And yeah, I've noticed you as well. And thank you for being here. And it's great to see your participation. And then you're gonna be one of the guys giving shout outs to the new people coming in soon. So thank you for being here.
Yeah, I like that. New player shout outs. That could be a new town hall section or something in the future. That's cool. Thanks, Quantum. Oh yeah. Thank you. Ron's in our ears here. Let's end the questions now. We've had a bunch of time for everybody to put in their questions. I'm gonna make sure I get through them all. And just a reminder, if you didn't get your question in, put it in the town hall channel, another time, and we'll get to it, so you don't have to wait another month.
And I tried to go back and get some of the ones before Matt. So that's what these next ones are.
Yeah, I see that. Okay, so Dave reposted some questions from earlier. This next one's about Frontier Mode is doing well with non-soulbound reward cards. Is there a reason not to try this with the main reward cards? Yeah, I mean, we talked about that earlier. I think it's good to reiterate. Frontier Mode is sort of a test bed for these things. I think with the changes that have been made to the game over recent years, we can rethink the whole soulbound reward concept, and we're going to be doing that for the next set of cards, which we're shooting to have out around October of this year. So that's not too far off. October, in my mind, was like, oh my gosh, October, that's forever. But it's 40 days out. So yes, the soul-boundedness of cards is going to be heavily thought through and potentially not necessary in the future in other game modes. So thank you for that question. Question from Wibble. Lots of the Chaos Legion cards are close to burn value. Any thoughts on a burn merge event to reduce their supply? I believe there are thoughts on that, Dave. I don't know what you want to say or not.
Actually, it's probably not a bad idea to go ahead and get that out there, Matt, only so that people understand. In the land card, there's going to be two resources that are going to be needed to make the land cards, one of which is going to be derived from land resources. So things like grain, wood, stone, iron, or aura, in different combinations. And then the other part of the crafting of the card is going to be creating something that Nate's group called Cinder. So the way you're going to get Cinder is by burning cards. So whether they're Chaos Legion cards or Alpha cards, you guys can burn whatever you want. But the only way you're going to be able to make these cards is by making sure you have Cinder, and that is only achievable through burning of cards. So I think it's a pretty exciting dynamic, and right up what you just said, Wibble.
Yeah, I guess my thinking has always been, well, pretty much everything is priced in DEC, and you can burn cards to get DEC. So we always kind of have incentive to burn cards if you don't need the cards. But that has worked a little bit and sometimes has not. So what this concept, I think of having a resource that you can only get by burning cards, and then that resource can be used to get certain things. I think the land cards are going to be the first one, but it can have other uses in the future. We'll just directly incentivize people to burn cards, not for DEC, just for this resource. So it's sort of the same thing we talked about with the mini set and trying to give direct value to SPS this time around, even though it was indirectly going to SPS. We want to also give direct value to burning cards, sorry, rather than indirect value. Just gets people more motivated to do it. So yes, that is top of mind as an upcoming thing. The next question is from Garut that Dave reposted. Does the 350 max copies include liquidity bots? But do you know what max copies of what?
No.
So this got answered, but no. Look, the circulation does not count liquidity bot ghost cards.
What card is he talking about? Do you know?
I forget. I think it was like Eleanor or something. He was asking if the circulation. He was asking if the ghosts liquidity bots were using real cards. They're not. For the
Yeah,
past.
no, right. Okay, I understand. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, we need liquidity bots right now because we don't have enough liquidity. I mean, my hope is that in the future, if we're successful at bringing in new players, we don't need liquidity bots at all. I'm reading the rest of the comment that he's in Gold League and more than 80% of the time he encounters Bravefoot and other promo cards in battle and loses, and that he doesn't have her. I mean, yeah.
I if you want me to answer this, Matt, I'm on it.
Go ahead.
I'm working with Royal Eagle. As Matt said, we do need liquidity bots to make sure that we have matches. So, some people say, "Oh, geez, they're too strong," and sometimes they're correct. So it depends on where you are in the process. This is not easy to do, right? There's a lot of trial and error, constant evaluating of the data and making sure that we get this properly tuned in. We've made a lot of progress. We've gone from ridiculously too easy to ridiculously too hard. We have metrics that we're looking at. We have leagues, isolated and players ranked in that. We're moving as fast as we can. And essentially, some people have said, like, once we have liquidity, do we need liquidity bots? And the answer is no. Once we get liquidity, we don't need liquidity bots. So we're kind of building something that hopefully puts that part out of business. But in the meantime, we certainly still have to figure it out. So I appreciate everybody's patience and giving us time. And I don't mind the feedback. If people want to give me feedback, just shoot me a message and say, hey, like I'm losing 80% of the time. Here's my rank, blah, blah, blah. And I'll go check and and we'll make adjustments. Pretty much Royal makes adjustments every single day. So,
Yeah.
We're working on it.
I guess as I'm reading more, the main thing is if that we cannot include promo cards for the liquidity bots. I
Yes,
mean, so I guess
we're
I'd
working
say
on that too.
maybe, but also the goal of the liquidity bots is also to make sure we provide reasonable opponents, right? So if we say like, well, the liquidity bots, and they're supposed to emulate the real players you would be playing against. Ideally, you wouldn't even be able to notice the difference. So if we just said, well, they can't use all these cards, it's going to be very difficult for us to have them emulate real players, some of whom may have those cards. So it may make sense to uh, again, in the goal of trying to have the liquidity bots emulate real players, have them be limited. So, only a certain number of liquidity bots have those cards, and those ones might be the more higher level bots. I don't know, but like Dave said, it's a work in progress. So we're trying, but the goal is to have them be good, reasonably, I don't know, reasonable level opponents for different players at different levels of the game, and we're going to do whatever needs to be done for that.
Yes. Agreed.
Um, Another question a question from Milo Max that Dave reposted here. Have you considered adding SPS staking to land? For example, being able to stake 10,000 SPS on a plot to get a boost. Right now, once you've maxed out your max multiplier, there isn't much use for SPS besides putting it into rentals. Staking on land could giving it more utility. Yeah, this is sort of the same thing I've been talking about. Where in my mind, since you need to stake DEC on land, that indirectly gives value to SPS because the more DEC that people need, the more demand for it will lead to SPS burning. So in my mind, that was what the goal of that was. Um, you know, Having to stake DEC on land gives value to SPS. Obviously, that hasn't been working out so well at the moment, as DEC is still below the value where it makes sense to burn SPS. So again, like I talked about, we were thinking about doing for the mini set of directly giving value to SPS. It might make sense to do something on land too. I just want to be a little careful because we say, and I want to think ahead, like if you say like, oh, maybe you stake 10K SPS on land to get a 10% boost, that might work well now, but I imagine a future where SPS could be much, much more valuable. And then it's like no one can even do that. Now, maybe that's okay. Maybe it's the people who did it now, get their benefit, and it's really hard for anyone else to do that in the future. I don't know, but that's that's why it's a little hard, and that's in my mind like the whole reason we have the DEC system is where DEC benefits SPS regardless of the SPS price, and it's a fixed value, so we can make sure that everyone has the same opportunity, whether it's now or in 3 years or 3 years ago. So the concept I'm on board with, giving more direct value to SPS. Whether we would just add SPS staking the land, I don't know, or try to get some other mechanics in there. But it is in my mind. And again, I'll just point out like the SPS token stuff is all owned and operated by the DAO. So if there's something that the community, an idea that the community can get behind, we should put up a proposal, and if the community approves it, we'll 100% do it. That's the way I would go for those type of things. Like just work with the community, see if you can get a specific idea that has support, and then put a proposal through.
And on that, if you don't feel you're connected to the community, like you're listening to this, like, oh yeah, okay, I'm not going to ever get a proposal through. Number one, that's not true. Some of our biggest proposals have been from people that aren't talking every day. So number one, if it's a good idea, it has a chance. But number two, if you don't feel like your voice is big enough, contact me. Let me know what the idea is, and I'll try to connect you. Right? Like I'll try to get your ideas heard. So I just want to point that out.
Yeah, and I still, even though I said we were going to go faster, I'm not going faster. So I'm going to try again to get through these other questions. Some of them are very long, so I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm going to summarize. So the next question from Clip OA that Dave reposted is about introducing leagues back to rank. And there was a proposal that recently didn't quite get the super majority required to pass. So I'll just talk generally about reintroducing leagues back in ranked mode. I've talked a lot. I don't necessarily think it's the right way to go. I could be wrong. If the community really thinks they want to do it, we'll do it. I do sometimes feel like players seem to think that that's going to magically fix all these problems, and I really feel like it's not. So there may be some things that certain players may like. There are some things that they may not like. I don't think it's really going to change all that much. That's just my opinion on it. And I don't know. The question is also about that if there's a majority but not a mandate to do it. Like, I don't know. It's a hard decision to make. So at this point, like, we've gone the direction that I at least think is the right way to go. Overall, I know there's some drawbacks and some things that people don't like. And otherwise, I mean, unless there really is a mandate from the players, I don't see why we would just not, we wouldn't keep going on the path that we're going on. I don't know what other way to go on that. Like we do what we think is the right way to go. We work to address the issues that come up, and only if the player community is really strongly thinks differently, then we'll act on that. But I would still say, but like, don't give up. Some of these things are hard, and we're not fighting against you by any means. We're just we never know what the right thing is to do, so we just have to think about it as much as we can, go the best direction that we can, and work with the community to try to figure out if it's correct or not. So I don't what I see now is that it's not clear that going back to leagues in the way that was proposed is a good idea. But maybe keep thinking about other ideas or changes, or just keep pushing on it, and maybe we hit on something that the community really likes and gets behind, and then we do that.
Yeah, I would say I looked at a lot of that feedback as it was coming in, and that's, I think, exactly right. Like I think that the concept came up. There was a majority that liked it, not a super majority, and the people that that's part of the benefit of our system is that you do have to convince 2/3 of the people that own stake in the game, and it wasn't a no from a lot of the people that voted no or didn't vote, right? It just wasn't a yes. So it's just a matter of like tweaking it and finding the right way to make it happen. So I wouldn't give up either. I just think it's a process.
the supermajority is on purpose, and I think is a very good thing, because if it was just a simple majority, I think things would just back and forth all the time. You know, if we want to make a major change to the game, it should really be kind of very consistent agreement by the community for it. I just don't know of a better way to do it. You know what I mean? Question from Ivan Recoveries: how much more glint do players in Modern earn? I'm not going to read the whole thing, but he's essentially saying it seems like Modern players earn way more glint than Wild players. I don't know. Do you know off the top of your head, Harry, what the details of that are?
Well, that's because there's double the SPS staking requirement in Wild, so your bonus for glint is probably half of what it is in Modern, unless you've got significantly more SPS staked.
Okay, so the only difference is just the SPS staking requirements.
Yeah, or the bonuses.
Not requirements, but yeah.
Your bonus is halved for Wild for what you have, so you're going to get more glint playing Modern.
All right.
If you're in the same league, in the same rank.
Yeah. So hopefully that answers that question. So yeah, I mean, I think the thought process behind that was like the Wild players are the players that have been around for a long time, probably were around when we did the SPS airdrop, so they had the opportunity to get significantly more SPS than some of the Modern players who may be much newer. So it makes sense to require more to get the same level of bonuses.
Yeah, there is also the alpha beta bonuses in Wild, though since we've introduced black foils, now there's a lot of black foil bonuses happening in Modern.
Yeah, that's a good point. Question from Zekrom: will we ever get a Dragon Splinter Foundation Archon? I don't know. I think we also, part of the thing, like we wanted Foundation mode to be cool and fun and people to want the cards, but we also wanted to not give everything. The whole idea again of Frontier mode is to have people learn the game and get acquainted with it and then move on to the other modes. So it's like a conscious thing of like, you don't get everything in that mode. Try these other modes that are like the main purpose of the game. So I don't know, but that's why we haven't done it so far. Another question from Quantum Nachos: since Investigator is clearly a workaholic, how likely is it he could be paid to sleep at least? I don't know, 8 hours a week for all our sakes. I don't know if you want to comment on that, Investee, but we do not manage his schedule and highly encourage him to sleep as much as is reasonable.
That's a good observation, though, by Nachos. Gator is up all hours of the night.
Yeah, that's part of the fun of working with an international staff. Is some people's early morning is your late evening.
Yeah. It is kind of cool, and we don't really have any like working hours. Really, it's just kind of whatever. So there's good and bad, but I hope we, at least from like the management level, we do not micromanage people's time. I mean, at this point, we just have really good dedicated people on the team and trust that they will do what they need to do to keep healthy and mentally stable.
Dave will message me at like 2 a.m, and then he waits for my reply, and at 2:30 he'll go, okay, I'm going to make the executive decision to make this post. And I'm sleeping the whole way through, right?
How bad could the post be?
Yeah.
The next question I see is from Barabonk: are the stream camera frames something you pick yourselves, or are they randomly assigned? I couldn't help notice Nate's frames look especially OP. Was that his choice, or with the will of the RNG gods? I think Ron. Does Ron make the frames? We didn't pick any of this stuff. Oh, Alfredo, did you make the frames? Ron is talking in our ear.
Yeah, I did. Sorry.
And did you pick the stats?
But I didn't assign them, actually. That's on Rondon, I think.
Well, I will admit that I did ask for these specific stats. So
oh, that's right.
All right, well, there you
Forgot
go.
about
So Alfredo made the frames and stats, and then Ron, kind of randomly assigned them to different people, except for Nate, who had the foresight to ask for specific stats and make himself OP. So Nate might need a nerf.
No.
We might need to have a DAO proposal to nerf Nate's town hall stats. So there, see, I learned something here. So thank you for the question. I had no idea where they came from. All right, and we got to the end of the questions. We went about 15 minutes over, which is fine because in the past couple, I think we went a little less time. So it's good. It's good to have a lot of questions, a lot of excitement, a lot of stuff to talk about. Again, we're sort of in, I don't want to say a lull period because so much stuff is coming out, but compared to like the Conclave Arcana launch, this is a slower period, which happens. There's a normal ebb and flow of these things. But these are the building times where we kind of design and come up with all the cool stuff for the next crazy fun period. And my hope is that we hit that, around the end of this year will be the next real big rush of cool stuff that's coming out in the game. So thank you everyone for participating, giving your ideas and suggestions. Again, it's a community effort, a community project to make this happen. So that'll conclude our town hall for today. I don't know off the top of my head. Let me try to see when the next town hall is. It looks like it is scheduled for Thursday, September 18th. It's going to be an evening town hall for those of you in the Eastern US time zone. It should be at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So looking forward to talking with everyone again then, giving some more updates and eye candy. Thank you again, Alfredo, for jumping on this time. And thank you to the rest of the team for everything you do. Thank you to the player base for making this awesome. And let's go out there and recruit everyone to the new Crypto Gaming Recovery Fund in the meantime. Thanks, everyone. Talk to you next time.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Good job, Alfredo.
Right.